All right, so what does it mean when Melania Trump holds a White House press conference supposedly celebrating freed hostages, but then uses the entire event to promote her failing documentary film?
This is not promotion. We are here celebrating the release of the hostages of Aviva and Keith. They were in Washington, D.C. They called me. They said they would like to come over to thank me and to give hugs, and that's why we are here.
When she explicitly plugs the movie by saying the hostage meeting is captured on camera and available to see in my new film, Melania. When a reporter calls her out directly, asking why she's using an official White House event on taxpayer dime to promote her commercial project. When Melania claims this is not promotion, despite literally just promoting the film seconds earlier. When another reporter asks about her relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein connections, and Melania immediately shuts down, saying, "We are not going to be talking about that." When she refuses to discuss her documented communications with Maxwell, including a 2002 email praising Jeffrey Epstein's New York Magazine profile. Yeah, that means we just watched one of the most disgraceful press conferences in White House history, where the First Lady potentially exploited freed hostages to promote a movie that's lost tens of millions of dollars, then refused to answer legitimate questions about her connections to convicted sex traffickers. And here's why this matters so much. Because this press conference might reveal everything wrong with how Trump's family operates in the White House, using official government events for personal commercial gain, exploiting human tragedy and suffering to promote business ventures, refusing accountability when questioned about disturbing past associations, all happening in broad daylight at the White House, using taxpayer resources, with Melania apparently believing she could get away with this blatant promotion disguised as hostage celebration. And when called out, instead of acknowledging the obvious conflict, she doubles down, claims there's no promotion happening, then shuts down any questions about her Epstein connections that might explain why she's so desperate to rehabilitate her public image through this documentary. Think about what that means. This wasn't some subtle product placement or indirect reference. Melania explicitly told reporters that her emotional meeting with freed hostage Aviva is captured on camera and available to see in my new film, Melania. That's direct advertisement. That's commercial promotion. That's using White House platform and freed hostages as marketing props for a film that's reportedly lost somewhere around $70 million, despite getting massive financial backing, possibly from figures like Jeff Bezos, who might have invested $80 million into the project, according to some reports. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built John Brown Show, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you appreciate what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. All right, let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about what actually happened at this press conference, because the timeline and specific moments reveal just how calculated this whole operation might have been. Melania opens by discussing Keith Siegel, who was held hostage for 484 days. She talks about meeting with freed hostage Aviva, describing it as emotional meeting. Then comes the pivot. She says this meeting with Aviva is captured on camera and available to see in my new film, Melania. That's the plug. That's the commercial promotion happening at official White House event, with freed hostages standing right there as props. And here's what makes this potentially so cynical. These are real people who suffered real trauma, held captive for over a year, finally freed and reunited with families. And Melania's using their story, their presence, their emotional journey as marketing material for her documentary that's apparently bombing at box office despite being in hundreds of theaters nationwide. Reports suggest the film might have only made around $7 or $8 million, despite potentially receiving $80 million in financial backing and promotional support. That's catastrophic failure. And now Melania's using White House platform, using freed hostages, possibly trying to generate publicity and sympathy that might translate into better box office performance. Then CNN reporter Betsy Klein asked the question everyone watching was probably thinking. Why do you feel it's appropriate to use an official White House event to promote your documentary? That's direct confrontation. That's calling out what everyone just witnessed. And Melania's response reveals everything. She says, "This is not promotion. We are here celebrating the release of the hostages." But she literally just promoted the film, just told everyone it's available to see in her documentary, just used the hostages story as marketing hook. So claiming this is not promotion after explicitly promoting the film seconds earlier, that's gaslighting. That's denying reality that everyone just witnessed. And Melania continues, saying the hostages called me. They said they would like to come over to thank me and give hugs. That's why we are here. Has nothing to do with promotion. But if it has nothing to do with promotion, why mention the film at all? Why not just celebrate their release without directing people to watch your documentary? The promotion happened. The commercial plug happened. Denying it afterward doesn't change what everyone heard. Share this video with everyone you know, because now let's talk about what happened when reporters tried asking about Melania's Epstein connections, because this is where the press conference completely falls apart. A reporter apparently asks about Ghislaine Maxwell, about Melania's documented relationship with convicted sex trafficker who recruited and groomed underage girls for Jeffrey Epstein, and Melania immediately shuts it down, says something like, "We are here celebrating the release and the life of those two incredible people." So let's honor that. Refusing to answer, refusing to address her past associations with Maxwell and Epstein Circle. And here's why that refusal might be so significant, because there's documented evidence of Melania's communications with Ghislaine Maxwell. There's an email from 2002 where Melania writes to Maxwell, calling her G as nickname, saying, "Nice story about Jay in the New York Magazine." That Jay is Jeffrey Epstein. The New York Magazine story Melania's praising is the same article where Donald Trump said Epstein likes them on the younger side and called him a terrific guy. Melania's praising that article, praising how Jeffrey Epstein came across in media profile that literally mentioned his preference for younger women. The email continues with Melania telling Maxwell, "You look great on the picture. I know you are very busy flying all over the world." That's friendly correspondence. That's social relationship. That suggests Melania was part of social circle that included Maxwell and Epstein. And when reporter tries asking about this documented connection, Melania refuses to discuss it, won't address it, claims it's not appropriate to talk about at events celebrating hostages, but she made it appropriate to promote her commercial film at hostage celebration. So the standard seems to be commercial promotion is fine, but accountability for past associations with sex traffickers is off limits. Think about what that means. Melania's documentary apparently focuses on her life story, her journey, presenting sympathetic portrait of her experiences. But when asked about her actual documented past, about her communications with Ghislaine Maxwell, about her presence in Epstein's social circle, she shuts down questioning, won't address it, creates situation where she wants to control her narrative through carefully produced documentary, but won't answer direct questions about disturbing elements of her history that documentary might be attempting to whitewash or ignore. And there's another revealing moment where a reporter asks about Putin and Ukrainian children. Melania apparently claimed previously that she was working with Putin on releasing Ukrainian children who might be held in Russia, potentially facing terrible conditions. Reporter asks if Putin has agreed to release any more Ukrainian children. Melania says, "I'm working on it. We are in the process. I hope we have success very soon. I will keep you posted." But there's no evidence this is actually happening. No confirmation from Russian sources, no verification from Ukrainian authorities, just Melania making claims that sound impressive, that make her look like humanitarian working on international hostage situations, but might just be more self-promotion without substance. Make sure you're subscribed to John Brown Show, because here's the broader context that makes this press conference even more problematic. The documentary is apparently a massive financial failure. Reports suggest it might have cost around $80 million to produce and promote, possibly with backing from Jeff Bezos, but has only generated around $7 or $8 million at box office. That's catastrophic loss. And despite pro-Trump media claiming the film was success, calling it record-breaking for documentary, actual numbers tell completely different story. The film might have lost $70 million or more. And there's reporting that some theaters showing the film are essentially empty. Journalists who went to screenings reported being only person in theater. Some reports suggest that Trump-supporting groups might have been buying tickets in bulk to artificially inflate box office numbers, potentially buying out showings without actually attending just to create appearance of success. If true, that could constitute potential fraud, inflating financial performance through coordinated bulk purchasing rather than genuine audience interest. And that desperation to make the film appear successful, that need to generate publicity and sympathy, that might explain why Melania held this press conference, why she used freed hostages as promotional props, why she explicitly plugged the documentary during official White House event, because the film is failing badly, losing massive amounts of money, potentially embarrassing for Trump family brand. And Melania might be trying to salvage something from the disaster by leveraging White House platform and freed hostages' emotional stories to generate interest that organic movie-going audience hasn't provided. Now let's talk about the Epstein connections more deeply, because Melania's refusal to address them might reveal what she's really trying to hide. The 2002 email to Ghislaine Maxwell isn't just casual acquaintance correspondence. It's friendly, warm, familiar. Uses nickname G for Maxwell. Praises Jeffrey Epstein's media appearance. Asks about Palm Beach, where Epstein had his mansion where much of the abuse occurred. Says, "I cannot wait to go down to Palm Beach." This suggests Melania was part of that social scene, was friendly with Maxwell and Epstein, was traveling in those circles. And the documentary's director is Brett Ratner, who also appears in Epstein Files, who has faced multiple accusations himself. When asked about photo of him with Epstein and young women, Ratner claims one woman was his fiancée from 20 years ago, but won't say her name, claims she doesn't want to be identified, says he only met Epstein that one time, never before or after. But the pattern raises questions about why Melania would choose director connected to Epstein's circle to make documentary that's apparently supposed to rehabilitate her image. All of this creates picture of documentary that might be attempt to rewrite history, to present sanitized version of Melania's past that ignores or minimizes her connections to Epstein's circle, her friendly correspondence with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, her presence in social scene where abuse was happening. And when reporters try asking about those connections, she shuts down questioning, refuses to address documented evidence, claims it's inappropriate to discuss at events she's using to promote the very film that might be whitewashing those connections. So here's where this leaves us. Melania held disgraceful press conference where she potentially exploited freed hostages to promote failing documentary, explicitly plugged the film during official White House event, denied she was promoting after clearly promoting, then shut down any questions about her Epstein connections that documentary might be attempting to hide or minimize. All revealing pattern of using official government platform for personal commercial gain, refusing accountability when questioned, attempting to control narrative through purchased media while avoiding scrutiny of actual documented past. That's corruption. That's exploitation. That's exactly the kind of behavior that might demonstrate why Trump family can't separate public service from private profit, can't resist using government power to advance personal business interests, can't handle legitimate questions about disturbing past associations with convicted criminals. If you want to stay on top of stories like this, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Should Melania be held accountable for using White House events to promote her commercial projects? And should she have to answer questions about her documented Epstein connections? Because honestly, this press conference might have backfired spectacularly. Instead of generating sympathy and interest in her documentary, it revealed the desperation behind the promotion, the exploitation of hostages for marketing purposes, and the refusal to address legitimate questions about disturbing past associations. Share this with everyone because this story continues, and we'll be watching what happens next. Stay tuned.